pray with me? Creator God, be here in this place now. Be with each and every one of us here tonight. Help me be guided by you in the words that I speak. Open our ears to what you would have us hear and shut to that you would have go by us. Amen.
Amen.
Pressure. The England team at the moment know what pressure is about. I know what pressure is about. Peter has been my friend, oh my goodness, for about 15 years. And we have been in the same church for at least 5 or 6 of those years, 2 different churches. And today is the first time that he has heard me preach. He's booked today off so that he could be here to hear me preach. Harry Kane, you know nothing. The theme this month is faith in action. So when I started to plan this sermon, I couldn't think of a more apt and appropriate reading for Robert to bring us this evening. Jesus talking to and commending those who have fed the hungry, those who have given drinks to the thirsty, clothed people without clothing, looked after sick people and visiting people in prison. After all, what could speak more of faith in action? I know I have another page here. Thank you. So when I was thinking about this passage and thinking about our congregation here, I see those who do these exact same things. We have several people here that help with Brighton in Need, and I've seen Mary, James, Anne, and others involved with Brighton in Need go out from here on a Sunday evening when it's tipping it down with rain, in December, January, February, when it's freezing cold, and go out to the homeless and spend time with them. They spend hours there, talking to them, giving them food, giving them drinks, giving them clothing, sleeping bags, mats. I think this is the sort of thing that Jesus was talking about. I think Jesus is proud of them. This church has a fund called the Pickle Fund, aptly named for those who find themselves in a bit of a pickle. The Pickle Fund has helped people of different sexualities, gender identities and faiths. We as a church, through that fund, have helped people pay for a night or two in a safe room whilst the council find accommodation for them. We've provided food for someone who had nothing other than the clothes they were stood up in. We've provided money for electric over a weekend when someone's got a cheque from the benefits, but they can't cash it because it's the weekend. And I honestly think that Jesus is proud of this church for doing that. And these are some of the sort of things that I think about when I think of Jesus talking about those who fed the hungry and gave drinks to the thirsty and clothed those without. These are the sort of things that I've always thought of as faith in action. But then I look around at my friends who maybe don't have a faith. They maybe don't even believe in God. And I look at them and I look round, and for the most part they're good people. And for the most part they go out and they do good deeds. They do good things. I have a friend who works as a paramedic and he helps people every day at work, as you would expect. He's paid to do it. But he's also a community responder. which means that he can get a phone call on his day off. He's just come home from work, he's maybe worked until 10 in the evening, maybe he worked until 8 in the evening, or his shift finished at 8, however he was stuck at hospital for another hour and a half. This happens, this is common for paramedics. And he comes home, he goes to bed, and 2 hours later, he gets a phone call saying, there's someone in your community that's having problems breathing, can you go out? He's like, yep, I'm there. He goes. He saves lives for a living, but he also does it on his day off. He doesn't have any conscious faith. So he's not doing this for God. It's not faith in action as I would historically have seen it. It's not how I think of faith in action. But I still think that Jesus is proud of him. I have a friend who works in a refuge for women who have been on the receiving end of domestic violence. She's paid to work 9 to 5. The amount of time she's still there after 8 in the evening. And there's no overtime. And until very recently there wasn't time in lieu. She does now get some time in lieu for those hours. She's helping those women, and she's not being paid to do it at that point. And a lot of the time, I know, she's verbally abused, she's berated, she's ridiculed by these same women that she's helping. I asked her about her faith a while ago, and she said that she does believe in God, kind of, sort of, she thinks, but doesn't really think about it that much. So all these things that she does for these women, if she was a professing Christian, we could look at her and we'd say, well, there you go, there's faith in action for you. But she's not. She has a vague belief in God. Is that faith in action? So is there any difference between faith in action and just good works? Yesterday morning, I went to a service organised by Stephen. You know Stephen, he's a regular here. He couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. Tall, good-looking, well-dressed. Usually sits with Charlie for some reason. Don't know why. It was a service for those who have been affected by sexual assault. And it was a very moving, beautiful service. This is the second type of service that he's organised. And I believe it's something he's planning to continue doing annually on the first Saturday in July. For me, the organising of the service is definitely a good work. But where it changes to faith in action for me is that Stephen does this because he believes that God has asked him to, that God has led him to it. There are thousands of things each day that each and every one of us could do to help others, big and little. And good works are absolutely, by definition, good. You don't have to listen, you don't have to hear the voice of God or the prompting of God to go out and do good, because good works are good. But if we ask God, God will usually show us something. God will usually tell us something. Not usually vocally. Not many people hear a voice from God. But we're led into things. And if we ask God, and we don't hear anything, we don't feel led, maybe it's because what we're doing already is what God wants us to do. In John 13:34, Jesus says, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another." And whether it's good works, or whether it's faith in action, or whether it's action with faith, it really doesn't matter. This church is good at it already. But look round and just see. Maybe there's someone that needs a smile. Maybe the person in front of you drops their shopping and you can pick it up for them. Maybe you can volunteer for brightening need, or for a soup kitchen, or for a shelter, or an after-school club. But like I say, faith in action or good works, it doesn't matter. Loving one another is what matters, just as Jesus and God loves us.